Hello and welcome to Live Fearless, where we are unlocking the secrets to freedom so you can embrace your true identity and love who you were created to be. I have the honor and privilege of being here today with Maureen Sharphouse. Maureen is an award-winning, results-driven, certified life and mindset coach. She is a mentor. She is a pain, support, and empowerment coach. Did you have a correction there, Maureen?
Did I have, sorry?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something. So
No,
I wanted to
no,
give
on
you that
you go, on
opportunity.
you go. No, you're
No
doing a great
worries.
job.
She is an NLP master practitioner. And what is NLP, Maureen?
Neuro-linguistic programming, which is basically
Awesome.
how we think, how we speak, and the patterns that we make within our brains of how we think, see, feel, and hear. So
Excellent. She is a speaker, writer, and an author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, Unhackable Soul. Maureen's passion is to inspire others to live out their unique legacy on Earth that they are proud of by helping them discover who they truly are and to live beyond their physical limitations. Maureen, tell us how long you've been living with chronic pain.
yeah, well, first of all, Andrea, thank you for inviting me to join you.
Yeah.
It's really a privilege. And I'm over here in Scotland, so it's really lovely to join you. When you say how long have you been living with chronic pain, for me, it's coming up 36 years. And yeah, I'm 66 now. And for 36 of those years, I haven't had a pain-free day. So yeah, I've spent more than half of my life now living with chronic pain.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That is, well, some would say that's a challenge.
Definitely, definitely a challenge.
Uh-huh.
And definitely it's been a roller coaster ride, definitely, with many real dark plummets, I think, which is inevitable along the way. And, you know, a lot of climbing back up and a lot of soul searching and discovering who I am. And yeah, I can honestly say now, you know, my physical body isn't in great shape. But mentally, spiritually, emotionally, you know, I feel vibrantly alive and stronger than I've ever been. So yeah, so it's definitely been challenging, and every day still is a challenge, and I'm not going to sugarcoat that. You know, it's about being real here. But when you take the steps to get yourself really well on the inside, and keep yourself strong at a soul and spirit level, then you have a greater ability to handle whatever life throws you and the challenges you have on a day-to-day basis. So
Vibrantly alive. What a great description of how you're living now. And that is that's incredible. Not a lot of people with chronic pain would describe themselves as vibrantly alive.
no, and I think, you know, the truth is the only way to feel alive is to live alive and be alive and allow yourself to feel alive. And that doesn't mean that you just embrace all the good bits of life and throw yourself fully into the good bits of life. It means that you allow yourself to embrace it all. And to me, being fully alive and feeling vibrantly alive means living life with all your senses open, you know, so that you're seeing and you're hearing and you're touching and you're feeling and you're tasting and you're feeling things at a deep soul level. So, you know, that vibrantly alive is about experiencing life in the now as it is, with all senses, and allowing yourself to feel what you feel, even the bad stuff. You know, it's about allowing that and trying to free yourself of the judgment, whether it's good, bad, or fair or unfair, and just allowing yourself to experience. And yeah, you know, to feel alive, you need to think alive, do alive, be alive. And again, it's about really getting that balance and shifting your mindset to bring more and more joy into your life and do more of the things that nourish and feed and uplift you at a deep soul level, and less of the things that drain you or take away from that. So yeah, vibrantly alive is yeah, it's not always been like that for me, which is probably why it's so precious to me now. So, you know, it's my pain and my illness has taken me to a place that perhaps a lot of people never reach. And, you know, it's because of the challenges, because of the deep plummets, that I am so appreciative now of, you know, the small things and the big things. And sometimes we need to go in the dark places to really see that.
Yes, yes, we do. Your book, Unhackable Soul, takes us through some of your darker places. And by the way, congratulations on your Prestige Award.
Oh,
Um,
thank you. Thank you.
yeah, Maureen was won the 2022-2023 winner. She's the winner of the Life Coach of the Year Award. And
This,
that's incredible. That's
uh,
really amazing. So we congratulate you on that.
oh,
And I know
yeah,
prior to that, you got some other awards. It seems like every time I open up my Facebook, I see an article or some award-winning accolade for you, Maureen. You're really just making great impact in this much needed field. So thank you. Thank you for your
oh,
work.
well, thank you. I see my lovely award is actually sitting on the desk behind me. I don't know if you can see it, but there's an award there and certificate on the wall, because I've been a life coach since 2010. So it was really, really lovely to have the work I do acknowledged in this way, because I
Mhm.
feel I've done it for, you know, more than a decade, and to actually have that acknowledgement that actually what you're doing is having an impact on people's lives, was really lovely. And the interesting thing was that the judges said what really impressed them wasn't just my skills, wasn't just my experience with people working all over the world. It was my authenticity. And it was the fact that I was so real, and that I didn't shy away from the fact that I live with problems and that I've been in dark places, and that every day for me, life is a challenge. You know, I use a wheelchair outdoors. I need help at home. I have lots of different health issues. I live on a liquid diet. There's so many different things go on for me. And I've always been really open about that. But I've never let it define who I am. And I've never let it hold me back from the work I do. So I say it was really lovely to get that Life Coach of the Year award, being told they were impressed because of my authenticity and my realness. That really meant so much more to me than my skills and experience. It was just that meant an awful lot to me. So
Yeah, that's what drew me to you and your work and your book. And I honor that in you.
yeah,
It's beautiful.
thank
Now,
you. I think,
yes.
that is the key, I think, for all of us, to give ourselves the freedom to be who we truly are, and not to put on a front to try and be the person that other people think we should be or ought to be, and not just show to the world a face that we feel that's the bit we want them to see. And I think when we actually get really so sure of who we are and embrace that and allow the guards to go down, so you let that light shine from within you outwards, complete with all your imperfections and your flaws, that's when you make your biggest impact on the world.
So true. So true. It is so challenging sometimes to get up and put that smile out to the world when you are in pain.
Yeah.
And chronic pain is kind of a different animal. Everyone I speak to that suffers from chronic pain or lives with chronic pain, um, they say it's a kind of like a slow wearing down of your will to hold on to the joy and the good things in life, and it kind of detours the focus from all the good things happening. And you seem to have been able to master that part of living with chronic pain. And I would love for you to share a little bit about your journey in that respect.
Well, I think the thing to realize is, it's not been that I've escaped all that at all.
Yeah.
I have been there. Living with chronic pain is soul eroding and spirit destroying and can take all the enjoyment out of life. It sucks the life out of you. And I always think it's like being a member of a secret club, because you live in this world that nobody understands and nobody gets you. And even your nearest and dearest and loved ones cannot possibly understand what you're feeling and what you're going through. And it's only when you kind of become a member of that club as well, when you have chronic pain, you get a little insight. But even then, it's an insight because everybody's experience is their experience. So yeah, it's a bit like being a secret club. And yes, pain wears you down. And it does suck enjoyment out of you. And I think the problem is the more your pain or disability takes over, the smaller your world becomes. Your world becomes smaller and more restricted. And you start losing your friends because the people you thought were your friends, because you can't join in anymore and because you can't go and do everything you used to do, they soon kind of move on and get on with their lives. And you lose a lot of that. And a lot of conversations you have with people are around pain. You only see your doctors or your carers or your nurses. Nobody talks to you about your pain. And the enjoyment for life really does get sucked out of you, and I really, for me, my life-defining, I guess, moment and my pivotal turning point with my journey with pain was in 2002. And it was, 27th of November 2002. I know the exact date because it's so imprinted in my mind. And I was sitting in the four walls of my front room after my carers had come in and helped me get bathed and helped me get dressed. They dumped me my usual chair beside my fireplace in my front room, cup of hot milky tea beside me, waved as I went out the door, and off they were. And I sat around and looked at the four walls of my room and realized that if I didn't do something different, this was going to be my life for the next 30 or 40 years. And it really was in that moment that it dawned on me that while I was physically alive and breathing, on the inside, I felt dead. I'd lost all enjoyment for life. I was living my life with my husband at the time and my children going out to work in the morning, shouting goodbye. Carers helped me get bathed and dressed, getting me settled and going out and just sitting there with a television remote and with a radio remote, literally sitting there all day in the same place with no outside, outside anything, to kind of bring me alive again. And it was really in that moment that it kind of, my goodness, my life's been hacked. Something's gained unauthorized access to my life because I know I'm alive and breathing, but my goodness, on the inside, I feel dead. And that was the moment that it was really hit home. And I think, to be honest, the most important thing any of us can do who live with chronic pain or chronic health conditions is to actually open our eyes to accept the truth of where we are. Because until we do that, we don't have a real starting place or a fertile soil from which to see change. Because all the while we try to deny maybe what's happening to us, to block it out, to, all the while, or just kind of except we're in a fight. All the while we try and fight something, it feels like a fight. All the while we see ourselves as battling something, it feels like a battle. If we see it as a struggle, it feels like a struggle. But we also have to be so aware and open your eyes to the truth of, oh my goodness, this is where I am. I've become comfortable in my uncomfortable life. I've got so used to living in my little front room and living this restricted life that, and then it's almost easier to stay there than do something about it, Andrea, because that's the life and it's scary, and I think life is in the now, and I think especially when we have chronic pain, half of the time we're spending looking at our past, grieving for the person we were, grieving for that person was able to do more. Beating ourselves up maybe over, guilt, blame, shame, something that had happened or something that we'd done, feeling ashamed of how have we got ourselves in this place now. And then another part of us is like fearful of the future. How are we going to cope in the future? And we see this picture. For me, all I could see was a life of disability and pain and carers. And actually, all the while we're looking in the past or the future, we're not allowing ourselves to live in the now. And so opening your eyes to the truth of where you are and who you are, and actually, but dropping the judgment, so you don't actually see it as fair or unfair or good or bad, just saying, well, actually, this is where I am. Face your story, face the truth of your story. And are you happy with the person you're being within your story? And then from there, and that real acceptance place of opening the eyes, okay, if I don't do anything differently now, nothing much is going to change. And that really, for me was the real changing point when I opened my eyes to my own truth and realized I was dead on the inside. And if I didn't do anything different, not a lot was going to change for me.
Wow. That's a powerful realization.
Yeah, it really was. And I went to bed. I remember going to bed that night feeling so strong and so powerful because I'd suddenly made this decision of, oh, I'm going to do all I can, to change this, and recognizing where I was. And I must admit, the next morning I woke up and thought I'd over medicated the day before, because I thought, how can I possibly think I can have a future brighter than the one that was mapped out for me?
Yeah.
And, and I think, it's important to recognize that we're human, and we're going to have our ups and downs. And, we're going to have days we feel we can cope and we can do stuff and we can be on top of it. And we're going to have days where it gets on top of us. And, we're human. That's normal. But, there's a lovely saying that you don't drown by falling in the water. You only drown by staying there. So I think, it's recognizing where you are and recognizing that if you are in this dark hole or spiraling down the dark pain tunnel with can't see a light at the end of it, then actually, if you're going to stay there, nothing much is going to change. You're going to live still in the darkness. So it really is about thinking, okay, what step can I do? And the beautiful thing is, our future, our life unfolds one moment, one step at a time. And I think you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to know how to do everything. All you ever need to do is take that one next best step, that one that just feels like it. And it doesn't matter how small it is in the beginning. For me, the small next step that I did the morning after that day when I'd gone, enough is enough. I can't do this anymore. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I went to bed feeling so powerful, woke up in the morning, shuffled to the mirror, saw myself in the mirror, this frail, disheveled lady, thinking, how could you possibly have thought that I could change things? But I knew if I didn't do something, nothing would change. And that morning, I reached out in my drawer and pulled out a lip gloss. And I looked in the mirror and put some lip gloss on. Now, 20 years later, I'm still a lip gloss girl. Because it was that was that moment. And it really sticks out to me, even though I'm 20 years later, that was a real changing point for me. Because it was like looking in the mirror, seeing this disheveled lady who was living in this dark cloud, really, and lost all enjoyment for life. And it was like suddenly going, you're worth making the effort, girl. Come on, you can do this. And just that simple act of self-care and saying you matter, you count, just by putting on some lip gloss. That was my small first step. And then if you take consistent action from there, all the small steps add up. They all add up. And in time, they can make real meaningful, impactful change in your life. And it's not always a straight journey. I certainly haven't had a straightforward journey over the 20 years since that moment. I've had the scenic route. I've had the detours of the road. and, and gone this way and gone that way rather than thinking where I'm going. Again, it's having that real flexibility and that fluidity and going, okay, one next best step at a time. And it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to have a day when it just feels too much and you want to retreat under the duvet. The only problem is if you're going to stay there. You have to just recognize it's okay to be okay. I'm human. It's okay not to be okay. However, if I don't make that conscious choice to do something different, then actually this pain is going to consume me. And, I always think of living with pain. It's a bit, if you see the pain as an out of control car or a steamroller, and it's constantly trying to push us down. We're trying to fight against it, and it's the stronger one, and it's constantly pushing us down, taking ownership of who we are and what we're doing. And all the while you try and fight that, it just feels like a heavy fight. And I think what you need to do, and the way I've dealt with it, is suddenly thinking, well, actually, I see you and I hear you. I can see you there. However, I'm going to climb in with you. And I'm going to take the driving wheel. I'm going to take the wheel and I'm going to sit in the driver's seat. So you move into the passenger seat and you and I will go on this journey together, because I know you're here and I know you're here and you're not going anywhere. And I hear you and I'm going to listen to you and do all I can to help you have as comfortable a journey with me as possible so that I can be comfortable with you. But I'll take the driving seat and we're going to go on this scenic journey together. And we're going to deal with whatever. So it's that real difference between the steamroller out of a car constantly knocking you down, or you actually climbing in that car or steamroller, saying, move over to the passenger seat. I'm taking the wheel. Now, we're going on the journey together, but let's make it as rewarding, as fulfilling as we possibly can together by listening to your needs. And every day I say to my body, what do you need from me to help you help me best get through today? I say it to my mind. What do you need from me today to help you help me be at my best? Say it to my soul. What do you need from me today to help you help me be at my best? And I say it to my spirit. What do you need from me today to help me fly and soar? So it's rather than the head going, what do I need? If you actually go to your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul, what do you need from me? So it's how can I help you help me be at my best today, to cope with today, to be, get through today. And it's a very different way of thinking. And it doesn't mean that it stops all the pain and it doesn't detract. It's not, and I think that was the important thing when I wrote my book, the Unhackable Soul, that I wanted to be really clear. It doesn't offer a physical cure. It's not about fixing or curing or healing. Because no matter how many mindset coaches, of which I'm one, but no matter how many or mindset gurus tell you, oh, sort your brain, if you ever think positive thoughts, it's going to fix or cure you. With the best will in the world, there are times when our physical ailments, our physical challenges, they aren't going to be fixed or cured. But if we can get the rest of us in the right place and do all we can so that our mind and spirit and soul level, we are in that best place, we're helping the body's natural healing mechanisms. We're giving it the best chance to work with us and heal. So yeah, it's a real, holistic approach you need to take when you live with chronic pain, and be accepting of, you don't need to feel guilty that you're not curing or fixing yourself. Because I think there's so much pressure. There's so many people out there, nutritionists and mindset people, and all these things saying, oh, eat the right diet and you'll be fixed or cured. Get your mindset sorted. Let go of your trauma. Sort yourself out. Something must have happened to you and you're youngster. There's times when you have to go, well, actually, I've done all those things and I do eat well and I have let go of my trauma. However, the bottom line is my physical body is my physical body. And sometimes there are things going on in your physical body that can't be fixed or cured. But I'm not my physical body, and I'm not my self-limiting mind. I'm the soul and spirit in me. And if I keep that bit well nourished, I'll handle whatever else happens. So it's really it's not even so much the mindset shift, which is important, but it's the shift to internally connecting a soul and spirit level that's going to make the real difference.
Mm, that's so good. I love your analogy. It just brings that a reality into how you step into that self-acceptance. I ask my mind, I ask my soul, I ask my body, what do you need from me today? And I think a lot of times when we're in chronic pain, I too have had my bouts with a chronic pain condition, and those times when you're just fighting yourself, you get in that mental space where
Yeah.
you're just so desperate to get relief, and you're pitted against your own self,
Yeah.
by not receiving and accepting who you are. And you just portrayed that so beautifully. And it doesn't mean, I love that you're saying it doesn't mean that all of your pain goes away, but I will say there's a lot of tension when you're battling, in your mind and your body against your
Oh,
own self.
absolutely. Absolutely. And you need to let go of all of that. Let go of the stress and anxiety and everything in your life that's adding in, because your body's got enough to deal with. Your body's got enough to deal with the physical things that are going on and the chronic pain and, any health challenges. So, it doesn't need all the stress and anxiety and everything on top of it. It's trying to deal with that too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it really does. When you kind of let go of the struggle and the fight and the battle and let go of the tension and the stress and all these things, you create this space for that acceptance of where you are, and for really beginning to nurture and feed and nourish yourself. And
Mhm.
instead of the tension, you go from the fear of the future to real fearless, because it's like, I can handle, I can deal with. And you go from this real stress and turmoil over what's going on to you to a real inner peace around, I'm not my body, I'm who I'm within. And as long as I keep that well, I'll handle it. I'll deal with it. And the thing that, I have some very, very rough nights, and that's just being real, totally real with you, with muscle spasms and fire in my body, terrible pain. And every morning, when I'm waking up, it's really important for me to do the kind of check-in and the bit of the mind shifts, shift for where I've been, because very often I've had maybe 2 or 3 hours sleep. But to me, what it's like reminding myself every morning, I'm still here and I'm still breathing. So my job on earth is not yet done. And
Mm.
that is precious, because it allows me to live with purpose and put my
Mhm.
purpose. And it's like, life is precious. So if I've woken up this morning and I'm still breathing, then my job on earth can't be done yet. I'm still here with a purpose to fulfill. And only I can fulfill it, because no one else can do it in the way I do it. No one else knows what I'm going through. No one else has the same skill set or personality. Nobody has the same as me. There isn't a clone. So only I can fulfill it. And the fact that I've woken up in the morning is, wow, I'm still here. So I've still got a job to do, and it's about stepping into that. And we can choose whether to feel sorry for ourselves, or we can choose to go, okay, I feel you, I hear you, I know you're here with me today, pain. However, I'm not going to let you rule how my day goes. I'm going to take ownership of moving my mind to somewhere else, so that the pain isn't the main focus. Because, if it takes over, it becomes the main focus, it becomes the driving thing behind you. And you need to actually go, no, you're not going to control me. I'm in the driving seat of this car. It's like, no, 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 you're the passenger in the back seat. I'm the driving. And I'm actually going to choose to let some of the light back in my life today. And for me, writing is my healing medicine, I guess, because I write every day. I journal, I write every day. And it's like, get that out of here and onto the page. And it's so freeing and empowering. I also listen to music really loudly. But again, it really helped. I really loudly.
Yeah.
It's just as well I live in a detached house and my neighbours are, a little distance away. But to me, it's like that allows me to lose myself in the music, and it takes my brain away from the pain that's doing its best to get a hold of me. And I love to bake and cook, and and my animals, I have a precious dog and cat, and it's about finding the joy and making sure that you do more of the things that nurture, nourish, and feed you, less of the
Mm,
things that drain, take away, have a negative impact. And also, you need to surround yourself with people who feel like sunshine, who people that feel positive to you and uplifting to you. Because it's quite hard when you're in chronic pain that, a lot of friends disappear and don't speak to you. But again, sometimes as well, people around you can be quite negative about it. And, the last thing I want when I'm out with anybody is actually talking about my pain. Talk about other stuff. I talk about life and spend time on my life, not about my pain. And, and again, when you're with, and a lot of pain support groups, as you may have had experience of yourself, a lot of pain support groups can be quite negative because everybody sits around complaining about their pain and how bad it is. But the more you think about your pain, the more pain you feel, the more you surround yourself with it. And there's some amazing pain support groups where are very positive and empowering and uplifting, where it's a positive environment. So I think it's really important if you live with chronic pain to not just look at what's feeding your mind, the messages you're giving yourself, but also your surroundings. In my office, I have positive quotes on the wall and a picture of a goldfish jumping out of a bowl and all sorts, to uplift me all the time. But also you need to look at who you're spending most of your life with. Jim Rohn said that, you're the sum of the 5 people you spend most time with. And actually, when you think about it, very often that's quite true. So if you think about the 5 people that you spend most of your time with, if those 5 people are all fairly negative or doom and gloom or cup half empty people, then that's not an awfully nourishing environment for you. So it's making
yeah.
those conscious choices to be with people who uplift and nourish you, to be with people who encourage and support, but also see you not just for your pain, not just for your disability or you want them to see you for you, the soul and spirit within you, so that you can actually still embrace life and not everything be focused around your ill health.
That's so good. Yeah. Nobody wants to be the chronic pain lady, right? It doesn't sound fun.
It's not fun, and
Yeah.
it is about getting the balance, Andrea, because you have to be safe and you have to kind of acknowledge, yes, you do need help at times to do XYZ, or you need to be sensible and safe. It's like, I have to use a wheelchair outdoors, and that was quite hard at the beginning, it allows me to be able to get out of the house. And, so you really have to get that balance of accepting that you're maybe not able to do everything you could. You're not as independent as you could. But you also have to recognize the things you can do and the joy you can still have. And sometimes you need to think outside the box a little bit to actually spark new things to bring the joy. And, so you have to want to live your life well. You really
Yeah.
you have to step into the deserving place and go, enough is enough. Enough is enough of living in a small, restricted world where pain takes over. Enough is enough. I deserve to feel loved. And by that, you need to start loving yourself. I deserve to live a life that feels rewarding and joyful and happy. And do you know what? Happiness isn't restricted to those people who are fully physically fit and healthy. None of the good stuff in life is solely for the physically fit and healthy. It's accessible for all of us. We maybe just need to think a little bit, we need to be a bit more creative sometimes as to how we
Mhm.
get it. We need to think outside the box a little bit sometimes as to what we can do, as opposed to getting a bit upset about what we can't do. But actually, happiness isn't dependent on being fully fit, physically fit and healthy. And you can feel complete and you can feel whole and you can feel vibrantly alive without everything being perfect in your world. And that's the mistake a
Mm,
lot of people make. They think everything in their life has to be perfect. before they can feel alive, complete, and whole. And actually, no, it's embrace the life you have right here in the now and feel complete and alive and whole within that world. And from that, an acceptance of where you are, shedding the labels so that you don't put too much importance on the labels you've been given, and really taking ownership of everything that feeds your mind and everything that feeds your soul and your spirit, and making sure that that is more nourishing and uplifting than it is draining. Then you'll start bit by bit beginning to feel a bit better about how you live. And it doesn't mean that you might get on top of your health condition. It doesn't mean that your pain is going to miraculously disappear, but it will mean that it doesn't take over and that you are able to see it in a very different light. And when it does rear its head and take over, you have that knowledge that this moment too will pass, and that you got through the last one, and you've been there before, and you got through it, and you will again. And I think that's the beautiful place I'm at now. My illness is progressive, and physically, I could be here all night probably telling you how it affects me, and I don't want to do that. But for me, it's that knowledge I'll handle whatever my future holds, as long as I keep my soul and spirit well nourished and keep myself alive on the inside. So for me, I have this deep inner peace and this deep contentment and this deep knowing that whatever, I'll handle it and I'll deal with it. And I'll still live a rewarding life that is filled with light. And to me, it's very important that I put my pain to purpose. We're all going through this for a reason. As in, it may sound like, what reason could there possibly be to be living in pain? But we need to put that reason, that purpose to it, of saying, well, actually, what am I learning from this? What is it teaching me about me? And how can I use that to be of service to others in the world? What is, what I'm going through and what I'm learning, how can this be used for a higher good? How can this be used? And to me, being the lighthouse and leader to others puts real purpose to the pain and is empowering rather than taking it away from you. So yeah, living with chronic pain sucks. That's the reality. It really does.
Yeah.
It sucks and it's hard. And it can be soul eroding and spirit destroying if you let it. And I think that's the bit, and that's the hard bit to see, that you have that choice as to how you. And it's, it's like 10% what happens to you, 90% how you deal with it. And it's not always easy when you're in pain to get yourself and recognize I have a choice as to how I deal with this. But that's the bit you really need to know, that access this safe place within, get yourself secure and grounded at that soul and spirit level. And from there, you will handle, and you can have a good life, and you can live a rewarding life, and you can feel complete and whole without everything being perfect.
That's so good. That's so good, Maureen. I love that it is in our wheelhouse to take ownership of our own self. And it doesn't always feel that way, but it is. It is. One last question. Many people that I speak to with chronic pain, and especially if it's sort of new to them and they haven't, been living in that space for a particularly long time. And when I say time frame, I mean like maybe a year or two, as opposed to 10 years. Oftentimes they talk about just feeling defeated in their ability to express what they're feeling to their friends and family. And particularly in this area, and I know you cover this in your book, is that if they're, because you can have bad, a couple of really rough days, and then you can have a great day where you don't seem ill at all. or you can have a condition that people can't really recognize by looking at you because you're not in a wheelchair, or you're not limping, or you don't have any device that is helping you along, that people think that you are either being overly dramatic, or maybe you exaggerated your symptoms previously, and those types of things. So what encouragement would you give to somebody who has a person in their family or a friend who kind of needs help understanding, and they're in that place?
Yeah, I mean, it is difficult. It's absolutely difficult. And it's so easy, to fall into the trap of going down the route of being the person that other people expect you to be when you have that condition. And you act in the stereotypical ways, and
Mhm.
the more you do that, the more disabled you feel. But it's like, if you have something, as you say, that's maybe, you have the better days and the bad days, and then it can really go against you when you have the smile on your face and you are vibrant, because exactly what you said, people will think you're exaggerated, it can't be that bad, and they have no idea. But the problem is, when that happens, it can work against you, as in you don't get the help you need and deserve.
Mhm.
Because really, only you know what you're really going through, and nobody is going to understand your pain. So I think you have to be true to who you are. You have to be open and honest, but you need to be really careful that you don't fall into the trap of either denying or blocking how you're feeling. I used to constantly be going, oh, I'm fine, when actually inside I was far from fine, so you need to be careful that you don't either block yourself from even accepting what's going on by constantly putting a brave face onto the world, because you don't want people to feel sorry for you, or, they don't understand. So you just kind of try and just go, oh. But the other bit is, you need to be careful that you don't fall into the trap of being victim to it, and actually not allowing yourself to have joy and to laugh. Because people think, well, if you're in pain, then surely you can't be going and doing X, Y, Z and having a good time. And it's okay. I think the thing to remember, it's okay to smile when you live in chronic pain. It is okay to bring joy into your life when you live in chronic pain. You need to give yourself permission, but you also need to give yourself permission to be open and honest, to try and help others understand how you feel, and to be saying, look, this isn't because I haven't got pain, it's because I'm making a choice to really live in the best way I can with this. And, it's difficult because, your doctors, if they see you with a smile on your face, you don't get the help you need. The same at home with your loved ones, they kind of expect, or they think. And I think you need to just let go, as to say, well, what somebody else thinks, that's what they think in their brain. It doesn't need to change how you think about what's going on for you.
So
How
good.
others don't know what they don't know. Only you know how you truly are and how you feel. So be true to yourself. And on the days that you're not good, it's okay to say you're not good. And it's okay to allow yourself to have that, and to feel sorry for yourself for that day, and to feel this. But don't stop allowing yourself to smile and have fun and bring joy to your life, because you think, oh, I don't want people to see that. What are they going to think or say? They're going to think. And again, so many people will throw at you things like, with the best will in the world, but it's like, oh, have you tried this diet? My granny tried it and she's cured now. Oh, have you tried this treatment? I've got a friend who did this and she's fine now. Oh, have you spoken to a counsellor and let go of your trauma? And
Yeah.
people mean well, but also they don't actually know what you're going through. And so I think, you need to be very protective of what you feed yourself, what you believe and what you know, but also don't fall into the trap of portraying something you're not, or feeling that you can't allow the spirit within you and the soul still to shine. So yeah, and it's a real difficult one, it really is, because, to get the help you need and deserve, you almost can get to the stage you feel you need to be seen to be in pain and disabled to be able to get the help you need. But actually, that's maybe stopping you being the awesome person you really are and being able to do the bit more. And then if you do too much and more, then people think, oh, you're fine. Actually, they don't realize probably the next day you're floored because you've just gone through it. So I think it's about openness, it's about honesty, it's about trying to help those close to you to understand as much as you can allow them to understand. They'll never understand completely, and you need to be okay with that. You need to know that they cannot possibly understand completely. So give them grace. They're not going to get it right all the time. They're not, your husband, wife, lover, your family, your son, your daughter, all those people, they are not always going to get it right for you. Neither is your doctors, but you need to think that actually they're seeing it from where they are and they're doing their best job too. And they're not always going to get it right, but give them grace. That's okay. It's a hard thing for anyone to understand. It's hard for yourself to understand it, let alone someone else to get their head around what's happening for you. So I think, be open, be honest, give yourself grace, but give them grace too. But, don't fall into the trap of being a victim to your label or a victim to, the illness or the pain, and feel that you can't still enjoy life and still be seen to be alive and still be seen to be laughing and having joy. It doesn't mean your pain's gone away. It doesn't mean you don't have all these things. It just means you've chosen life. And that's awesome. That's an awesome thing. So yeah, I think, it's just, don't let it get you down. Don't let those things get to you for others, and accept that not everybody is going to understand, and be okay with that. Just kind of go, well, it's okay, but try with your closest people to you to help them understand as best they can, but to allow you to do what you can on the days that you want to do it, and you can, without being overprotective of you or without being the other way, because you can get both ways. You can get families being, oh, my mother used to almost like wrap me in the cotton wool. Let me do it for you. Let me do it for you. And I'm going, let me do what I can do while I can do it for myself, please.
Yeah.
So it's like they can get overprotective of you, but also they can be the other way, and you can get to the stage you don't want to ask for help because you get kind of, oh, I'm not going to ask for help, because you feel ashamed sometimes that you're disappointed in yourself. So it really is, you have to get really comfortable about asking for help when you need it, but also comfortable about saying, actually, I want to do this for myself, or I want to be able to X, Y, Z. So it's a real fine line. And I say, over time, you find your way, and nobody can say to you the right way to live with pain and illness. There is your way. And I think that's the bit, nobody can. There's nothing, there's no textbook, there's no rule that this is how you live your best life with pain and illness. There are lots of ways that will help and can help, but you need to find those ways for yourself, and we'll all have slightly different mixtures probably in the pot. And so I think, allow yourself to go where you need to go, and allow yourself to learn and grow with and through your illness and your pain, with it on your journey, but being kind and loving and compassionate to yourself with that, and looking after yourself as much as possible, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, so that your physical body and your pain has the best chance of loosening its grip on you a bit, and moving into the back seat rather than in the driving seat of your life.
Maureen, that's so good. We are just about to the end of our time. It has gone so quickly, and Maureen, you are delightful. It has been just such a pleasure to have you here with us. Maureen, you've given us several steps that we can use to begin our journey to taking control of our pain. You talked about journaling. You talked about taking inventory of your mind, your body, your soul. You spoke about just taking responsibility and really getting to know ourselves and what is going to work for us and just letting it be okay. And
Yeah,
I
and you
love
need
that.
to like you need to like and love yourself. You need to love yourself unconditionally. You know, see the beauty in your imperfections. You're unique, you're awesome. And you know, you need to really do this. Actually, I love myself as I am, and I am enough. And I'm not defined by my physical body or the pain. That is not who I am.
Mhm.
I'm the soul spirit in me. I'm the light that's within me.
Mm.
And that is the bit you need to stay true to. Um, yeah, and don't be frightened to let that light shine out. It doesn't detract from these, not doesn't mean that you're making small things of what's going on in your life or your illness. It just means that you're choosing life. And that to you is more important than a life where pain dictates what you don't do.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for those last words. That's incredible. Maureen has generously provided some free gifts for the listeners, and you can go to her website, which is www.maureensharphouse.com. And she's got motivational downloads, some meditation audios, some empowering visualization techniques and book recommendations, just a wealth of resources there. And we thank you for that, Maureen. We thank you
You're
so much for being with us today. And it's just been very enlightening, very lovely. I'm sure it will be just powerful help for those who fit this criteria here. So
Yeah, well, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me. And it's been my pleasure. And I say, if go to my website, MaureenSharphouse.com, and head to the Get Inspired page. And there's lots of free resources. That is my gift. My gift to you. Go download. And please, if I can help in any other way, reach out to me. You'll find me on social media. You can find me via my website. And if I can help in any way, just reach out.
thank you. Bye for now.